It is 9:30 on a Thursday night, and you're tuned into Beltway Radio and Beyond, which can mean one and only thing.
Uh-oh.
I got the wrong bell. That's the bad bell. Hold on. This is a good bell.
Good bell. Oh.
Welcome to Chip Chat. It's Chip Chat, everybody. Yeah, I'm Chip. So Tez is not here. If you're watching on the screen, you'll notice that Tez has been replaced with Patrick.
Right.
Hi.
I'm a different black guy. Hi.
Yeah, right. If you're the white audience, this is not the same guy. We know you can't tell. That is one of the funniest things that turns out to be really true, is that people of different groups have a hard time telling other people apart.
It's true.
It's the wildest thing.
It's across cultures. It's across race. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, but I was really sad when it turned out science proved that one. I didn't want that to be true.
It is.
It is true.
Yeah. That we'll see. We'll notice in the comments. Watch.
Yeah, right. We'll find out. Don't worry. We don't let certain people comment.
It's like, he's not as funny. What's going on?
Right. Yeah. You know? That guy has a different beard. What's all right. So anyway, I had written an intro for you. You're the special guest co-host. You're a writer, a poet, the maestro, Mr. Black Picasso himself.
Too kind.
We're going to ask you some stuff maybe along the line, although I never really got around to writing interview questions because
it's all good. Yeah, we'll just two old friends just chopping it up, right?
We'll just make it up. All right. Also this week, there is a lot of stuff. This is a very newsy week. You did not know that when you agreed to do the show.
No, I did not.
It was very dense. So we've got Trump's got to pay for play. Yeah, that's not good. Jailhouse Georgie's back in the news. We've got the CNN debacle. That we just have to talk about. CNN. I watched it. Yeah, even if you didn't, it's okay. You heard about it.
CNN, aka Fox Light.
Yeah, they're trying. We're going to talk about that. Suffice it to say, it was a disaster. I don't think I've ever watched. No, I have, but not for many years. Not since the 2016 campaign. Or the 2020, I think maybe even in 2020 they kind of learned a little bit, but like I haven't seen a decision that bad made involving live television maybe since like Janet Jackson. Like that was a bad move and a very predictably bad move. Yeah. It really was. So anyway, there's a lot of stuff. We got a lot of things to talk about. So, do you know how to do the word thing?
Remind me real quick.
So the way this works is 100 years ago when Larry and I were doing the show, one day we said, grab some buds, it's Miller time. And we smashed the two logo or slogans together. And then like a week later, there was the big SAB InBev merger. And so we took credit for that, as one does on this show. So since then, we have been trying to cause other things to merge.
Okay.
We have been unsuccessful, but it's still worth trying.
Okay, so what are we going to try this
time? So, you have to pick a word and don't tell me, and then I will pick a word and not tell you, and then you'll say your word, and then I'll say my word, and we'll see if it works or not.
At any point during the show? Or
no, like right now. I'm going to tell everybody, sit back, grab some, and you're going to say the thing, and I'm going to say a thing.
Okay.
And then it's not going to make any sense.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Gotcha. This is why he's a guest co-host.
Sorry.
It's okay. Tez still doesn't write a word either. He's not prepared either. Okay. So also when we do this, if it does work, we want some of the credit. So just be ready for massive credit when we cause the world of finance to move.
Okay. All right. Hey, I'm ready for it.
Yeah.
I'm ready for it.
We're gonna get famous tonight.
This moment.
You ready?
Everything I did before.
No, all of those albums and everything else you did
led up to this moment.
Just leading up to right now. Okay, are you ready? You've got a word?
Sweet baby Jesus. Okay, let's go.
Okay. So sit back, grab some
fuzzy dice.
It's Burger King time. You're listening to the best show, the only show, Chip Chat on Beltway Radio and beyond.
I love it.
Sweeps. Chip Chat here on Beltway Radio and beyond. I'm your host, Chip. With me tonight is Patrick. You want to be Patrick or Black Picasso? What do you want to be? You can change up all throughout the day.
I can switch up. Yeah. You know, creatively when I'm on stage doing my thing, I'm Black Picasso. But right now, I'm just Patrick.
You're just Patrick.
Yeah.
It's not just Patrick.
Well, hey, you know.
I mean,
my mama likes just Patrick. You know?
Oh, that's right. Okay. Well, let's make sure she's happy.
Hope she's not listening though. Okay.
Right. Sorry, Mom. All right. So we have to talk about this CNN thing. So a couple of, maybe more than a couple things, but here's some like background information that people need to know about what happened.
Okay.
CNN put on a town hall at a college in New Hampshire.
Right.
And they filled the audience with what they said were likely Republican voters, some of which were officially Trump supporters in the primary, which is still a year and change away, and some of which claimed to not be. But that was a lie. They were all Trump supporters. They were all also very white.
Hey.
Like paper towel white.
As a Trump supporter is supposed to be.
As Tommy Tuberville said today, a white nationalist is a MAGA Trump voter. And I'm not making that up. He did say that. He said that.
Right.
They said, the reporter said, what is a white nationalist? He said, it's Trump Republican voter.
Right.
And then they were like, you sure about that one?
There's no doubt.
You want to say that one out loud?
There's no doubt. Now, a Trump supporter may not necessarily be a white nationalist, right?
No, but I think if you're voting for Trump, you are voting for a white supremacist, Christo-fascist ethno-state. That is what they want.
Oh, wow. Okay. Right. But some of them are being duped. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Okay. Right. They might not realize, they might not be intentional white supremacists.
Right. They show up.
Just sort of like,
right.
I think this is right.
I'm going to put on the robe.
Yeah. Everybody else has the hood on. I guess I'll put mine on. It's a weird barbecue, though. The grill is up on its side. So anyway, okay. So they held this event, and it was hosted by Caitlin Collins, who is one of their morning anchors. I think she's on a morning show. I'm not totally sure. I think she was on with Don Lemon. One of the important things to know, though, is that before she got this gig, she actually worked for the Daily Caller, which you should be very alarmed to hear those words, because that is a white supremacist Nazi publication. It's an online Nazi newspaper. And so while she worked for them, then she was often a guest on Fox News, because of course she was.
Right.
Thank you, Tommy Tuberville. And so this was as friendly a deal as they could have possibly set up for Trump.
Right.
And they did it live. It was a live town hall. That's a problem.
There were a lot of us who were hoping for real live television gotcha moments to happen.
Yeah, the problem is the gotcha moment really only works if the person can be got. And so if Donald Trump sits in that chair and says the election was rigged, and Collins goes, no, it wasn't. He just goes, you're nasty, shut up, and keeps moving. And it doesn't work. I've said it before, and I'll say it 100 times more. The major superpower of the modern Republican Party is their immunity to shame. He said one thing true the entire night. One.
What was that? What
he said was, she asked him, the debt ceiling was raised 3 times while you were president, and now you're telling Republicans to go ahead and let the United States credit crash. Why? And he said, you want to know the answer? Because then I was president, and now I'm not. And that's true. That is true.
It's gangster as shit. Yo,
it is very gangster. But that's not presidential, but that is, wow. That's very gangster.
Wow.
It's up there with I can shoot people on Fifth Avenue and get away with it, which apparently is also a thing that he does. I mean, so that was the initial setup, but then this whole system got much more complicated by the fact that the day before, a New York jury in a federal civil trial came back with a $5 million verdict saying that Trump sexually abused and defamed E. Jean Carroll.
Right.
And so then later when he gets asked about this in the thing, he defames her again on live television. She's got still another defamation suit against him pending. It's not finished yet.
Okay.
Now it's going to be a third one. Like, it's one of those, it's like the coyote and the roadrunner. You know, like he falls off the cliff. He's going to get burned in this lawsuit again. It's another $5 million, whatever it is. And he's going to do it again. Wow. He's just going to keep doing it.
And this time he did it in front of what, 3-4 million people this time?
Yeah, he did it in front of all of us. And
wow.
Can he learn? I don't think so. So will he learn? Probably not.
Nope.
He's just done.
Too old.
I don't even think it's a function of old. I don't think Donald Trump has ever been able to learn anything in his life. He operates entirely by instinct. This guy is making it up as he goes all the time. And he can't freestyle. Like,
I don't know. He has a bit of a rhythm, you know.
Well, he has a cadence to him for sure. But what he does is he falls into these like loops.
He sees the videos. You know, you see how he dances.
You see how he dances, but like he falls into these loops. You got him. You say one thing and it's like a prompt, you know. But then that triggers that loop to play, and he goes, "It was rigged. This is it." And you know, he just like repeats.
Oh, his stream of consciousness
it's nuts, isn't it? It's pretty wild. So here's what we learned from this event. One, he can't stop lying. This was this great opportunity, if he wanted to win an election, to just politically answer all these hard questions and get away from this stuff and become less distasteful to the great American middle. But he could not do it. He couldn't do it. He was just like, you know, the election was rigged. And she goes, no, it's not. And he goes, yeah, it was. Shut up. And then he says, I wasn't found liable. And she goes, that just happened yesterday. It's $5 million. and he goes, they said I didn't rape her. And she goes, right. They said you sexually abused her. And he goes, no, I didn't. And like, it just goes, no, that's not true.
It wasn't me.
Right. Yeah. He's the Shaggy song.
The classic, right?
So that was one thing we learned. The other thing we learned is that Republican voters love this shit. They were laughing at the comments like it was a bit.
I feel like he's not I mean he remains Teflon Don. My only concern is that we just keep him out of the seat. We need to keep him out of the overall.
Well, that's what Biden tweeted out immediately after this. You want more of this? or if you don't want it, more of this, give money to my campaign now. That was the tweet. And I was like, yeah, here you go, Joey. Like, I don't understand. But to his voters, this is what they want. They were in. You could hear him laughing. You could hear him cheering. He goes, she's a whack job. And they all go, yay!
Right.
Like you just lost $5 million.
Like she's a 4 at best. I wouldn't have I wouldn't sexually assault her.
Yeah. She's not my type. That's what he kept saying. And we are going to talk about the actual trial, so we'll get to it there. But another thing we learned is he was smart about one thing. Caitlin Collins tried to pin him down about would he sign a national abortion ban.
Okay.
And Republicans in general for 100 years have said yes to this until Roe was overturned. And now they are seeing the consequences of this, and it's not cut and dry, and people they know are affected, and states they know are grappling with this and finding out that the voters are not on that side at all. Kansas voted down an abortion ban. Kansas.
Wow.
Yeah. So they're the dog that caught the car, and now they realize that they don't know what to do with it. Right. So she goes, "Are you going to sign a national abortion ban?" He goes, "Well, I'll sign whatever, makes sense." And like in his classic sort of Trump word salad, he just says nothing. It's just this like stream of gibberish. He goes, "Well, it's got to happen. We're doing bigly things. It's strong, but
right.
If it's not going to happen, then it's got to happen. But if you try and the people don't like it, then you got to try a different thing." And and you're like,
"Wow, he's freestyling."
Yeah,
Yo, I love it.
Jazz Trump.
Hey, I love it. We wanted something here.
Yeah, right. Okay, so he did say that. The other thing that seemed like an easy win, but he swung and missed as hard as possible. And again, all of this on purpose is, should Ukraine win the war?
Oh,
And he goes, no. and like, is Putin a war criminal? He goes, I don't know. Like, what do you mean you don't know? How do you not know?
This man still has investments. He has business. He has
a P-tape.
I was going to say he has wives purchased over there. He has, you know what I mean? He's got some business there. He needs to kind of keep intact.
He can't anger his handler. Right. I understand that. But like again, this is an easy one where you can get back all of those independents by getting this question right. And he knows that. And he's just like, nah.
Still just
go Russia. You have a man running for president of the United States who is supporting the Russians in a war of aggression that does not need to happen and is happening live on television in front of the entire world, where they are killing hundreds and hundreds of people. And he's like, yeah, that's whose side I'm on.
I have some friends, with people over there who are, they're stuck, they're trapped. You know what I mean? And family here, they can't get in contact with them. They don't know if they're, if they're alive, if they're okay or anything. And
this is still an active war.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
This is an easy question. And so immediately in the aftermath, there was a lot of questions. So let's back up literally a day before this to the verdict that comes out of the courthouse about E. Jean Carroll. The story that everybody needs to know here is that E. Jean Carroll is a writer. Back in the 90s, she ran into Trump at a department store and claims that they were kind of chatting with each other and they went up by the dressing room and it got a little flirty maybe. And then she claims that he grabbed her by the pussy, let's say. I don't know where I've heard him say that. And attacked her and raped her. And that since then, she's been a wreck. And then she went out and told everybody this, wrote a column about it, and he called her a liar several times and defamed her and tried to ruin her career. And so she got this into court. And the 9-member jury, because it's a civil case in New York, that's how they do it. 6 men, 3 women, including several Trump supporters, we found out, returned a verdict in less than 3 hours that, yeah, that motherfucker did it. And he owes her $5 million, which, I know this is going to shock everybody, is a lot of money to Donald Trump because he's broke. And that's why he can't talk bad about the Russians, because he needs the $5 million. the trial's over. They're appealing it, of course. The sad part about this is we don't get to talk about Joe Tacopina very much anymore. And
love that.
That's
dude.
a great name.
Joe Tacopina.
Tacopina.
What's the Curb Your Enthusiasm? What's the guy? He's
Bob Sacamano. That's
It gives me that vibe.
from Seinfeld. Yeah,
Give me that vibe.
Yeah,
Bob Sacamano.
Yeah. So you've got Joe Tacopina, which great name. Apparently, at the end of the trial, he like shakes hands with Carol's lawyer and goes like, "Good game" or whatever. You know, because he understands he's a lawyer. He doesn't actually believe any of this stuff. He's
all part of the game.
Yeah,
you know
that's exactly what he said, and that's exactly what he sounds like. What a great name, Tacopina.
Oh, Tacopina.
Yeah,
Yeah, I love it.
If he doesn't open a restaurant,
I'd go.
Welcome to Joe Tacopina's, where every day is Taco Tuesday. Like, come on, you gotta go. How would you not? I'd be there on Monday.
Yo, the calamari. You know what I mean?
Right.
Great.
Just the way he talks.
Oh man, I love it.
It's always funny when people who sound like that are also actually lawyers, because there's like a perception of what that accent. He should be like a plumber or like a garbage man or like something tougher.
I need to see him in action. I need to see him
lawyering
in the room. Right. You know what I mean? It's straight.
This is Joe Tacopina, but the habeas is in your corpus now. I don't know how it would. I don't know how to lawyer, but that's what I imagine.
But that's what Trump deserves, though. You know what I mean?
Right. So he loses the case, and then that story comes out, and the question then again, we're doing this thing, and the media's got to learn this because they're getting it wrong again. They're falling for it. They go and ask John Cornyn and Kevin Cramer and all of these other Republican senators who are supposed to be the, sort of core of the party and say, what do you think of this? And they all say the same thing. This is no good. This guy is pretty unelectable. The people don't like this. A verdict like this doesn't put a checkbox in a positive category, said Kevin Cramer. And they're wrong. They don't know where their voters are. To the people who voted for Donald Trump once or twice, they don't care. There is, again, not only do they not care, some of them are excited by this.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
they're proud of this.
Yeah, if they weigh the pros and the cons, they weigh their principles, right?
They don't have.
Right. The little bit that they have against what happened. And they're like, I need this man to make me feel,
Yeah, their identity is tied to it. So it just becomes this thing of like, literally no matter what happens or what he's convicted of or what he's proven to have done, they wear it like a badge and they go, yeah, he did it. Yeah. And go, and he was right to do it. He should do it again. Oh. She wanted it or whatever, like they're out there saying, no, but they're saying that kind of stuff. Or they just go, I don't believe it. And you go, he was convicted, he has to pay. And they go, no, he doesn't. That's right. You fall for that. You're so stupid. You listen to the media. Right. Joe Tacopina said he didn't do it.
He didn't do it. You know how I know he didn't do it? Because he was recording Home Alone 2. He was appearing in Home Alone 2 at the same time that the alleged assault happened. You know what I mean? It's always something.
And so they're not getting it. And the media is still getting this wrong. They're talking to the wrong people. Asking Republican establishment figures, party leaders, governors, all of these other people who have a vested interest in getting him out. They don't want him around. He's toxic. He's lost 3 elections in a row, counting the midterms, right? So this guy is bad for their brand. If they want to get back to giving tax money to billionaires and suppressing poor people, they need to win elections, and they can't do it with Trump there. So they want him out. But that's why asking them is the wrong people to ask. You know who gets this right? Jordan Klepper. He goes to the Trump rallies
I love Jordan Klepper.
And he asks them all of these things, and he does the fact check live, and he goes, this is what happened. And they go, no. That's who you need to be listening to, media.
Jordan Klepper is incredible, and he'll expose the hypocrisy and just the fact that they are gonna, the doubling down on the idiot. Yeah.
But remember also that every time he does that and he confronts a Trump voter and he catches them in their own bullshit, it doesn't convert that voter.
Right.
That person is not going to let go of this.
Right. All it does is make us liberals laugh, right?
It does, but also it kind of highlights who we're dealing with as a group, as a species, let's say. This is what these people do believe. And if we don't start thinking about what to do about that, we are going to fall for this same trap. And like I say all the time on this show, eventually this is going to end. The haze will lift and these people will have to reintegrate into society. And we are going to have to figure out how we're going to do that. Are we going to let them back in? Are we going to forgive them for this fever dream that might last 2 decades long? What are we going to do?
Nope.
No, right. Thanks, Brian. I mean, do we cast them into the sea? Do we build a little ethno state for them in Idaho and make them live there? What do we do?
I hope they remain. Number one, I hope they remain in their cold conservative states.
Yeah,
right.
Those square states.
Yeah.
The ones with the corners.
Right. Stay in all of those. Remain there. You know what I mean? Because then I know where not to go.
Right.
First and foremost.
Yeah.
And we can work on the rest. You know what I mean? You don't have to necessarily secede or anything like that.
But they're part of like our neighborhoods too. Like you don't see them because they know to keep their heads down.
Listen.
But you might be living next to several Trump voters and not know it.
Right. There are rooms in my house that I don't go to.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
Yeah. Hey, listen, we all have those boomer parents.
There's a bunch of shit in that room, and I'm not going in there because then I have to deal with it.
Yeah, that's fair.
You know what I mean? So that's the way I'm looking at it.
Okay. That's the way to do it. Okay. We stuff Trump voters in a room that we don't go into. Got it. Thanks, Pat. All right. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a break and go find a very small room to stuff all of the boomers into. And we'll come back with the next half of the show. You're listening to Chip Chat on Beltway Radio and beyond.
This morning. The vitamins, the minerals, the amino acids. The vitamins, the minerals, the the vitamins, the minerals, the amino acids. The vitamins, the minerals. That's Turbo Force. 5 different types of caffeine. Doesn't have the crash. 5 different types of caffeine. That's Turbo Force. 5 different types of caffeine. Doesn't have the crash. 5 different types of caffeine. That's Turbo Force. Plant derived. 500 milligrams. Slow burn. Very bad. I want a long burn. Can't derive 500 milligrams. Slow burn. Very bad. That's Turbo Force. I'll tell you what, I'm feeling a lot of energy. My brain's sure working good right now. Good right now. Good right now. Pre-workout, next level. Turbo Force. Turbo Force. Pre-workout, next level. It's Turbo Force. And get the fish oil. I'm sick of all these witches and warlocks. You're full of shit. Pumpkin popsums, I'm sick of it.
You keep interrupting.
And all of it's lies. Because you're lying. That's why. Oh, there's energy and now we're done with Trump. You said he was the Messiah. You said he was invincible. I will not suffer your Q people after this. I knew what you were day one. I know what you are now. Witches and warlocks are full of shit. Pumpkin popsums, I'm sick of it.
You keep interrupting me.
And all of it's lies. Because you're lying. That's why every goddamn thing out of your people's mouths doesn't come true. You said it was all over. You told us the stuff. You. Oh, God. Witches and warlocks, you're full of shit. Pumpkin popsums, I'm sick of it.
You keep interrupting me.
And all of it's lies. Because you're lying. That's why witches and warlocks You're full of shit. Pumpkin possums, I'm sick of it.
You keep interrupting me.
And all of it's lies. Because you're lying. That's why. Because every god thing.
Hey, welcome back to Chip Chat here on Beltway Radio and beyond. I'm your host, Chip. With me is Patrick. That was Tez's favorite stuff. He's not here, but we're playing his hits for him.
Shout out to Tez.
Yeah. That was a new one, the Turbo Force one. I don't know. Brian's getting really good at finding weird Alex Jones shit to play, but Turbo Force.
Oh, that's fun.
I want some of that now.
Yo.
5 kinds of caffeine. I'm not sure that they're... How many kinds of caffeine?
I didn't realize there were that many.
I only know like 3 sources of it. There's coffee beans, tea leaves,
Okay.
and chocolate.
What? Cocaine? That's not. No.
That's not caffeine.
No. It's just its own.
That's its own thing.
Okay.
Don't listen to Pat. He's a musician. You know, they're different. All right, now we've come to a part of the show called The Rundown. This is where I tell you about some stuff that's going on in the news. In this case, this is the Rundown Crime Edition.
From Beltway Radio and beyond in Washington, D.C., I'm J. Scott Smith. And this is the part of the hour where I tell you some stuff that's going on in the news.
Thanks, Jay. Dateline, Islip, New York. The biggest crime here, of course, is that reporters had to go to Islip. Have you ever been to Islip?
I have not.
It's where the Isles used to play.
Okay.
And it's the 3rd airport that you could fly into and be in New York. You know, there's LaGuardia and Kennedy, and then there's Islip.
Okay, yeah. Then you have to drive for about 4 hours after.
Yeah.
Okay.
You also have to drive your airplane there. Like Islip's airport will not accommodate anything with wings. That's how small it is. It's just a disaster of a place. The Isles used to play there in a building that was constructed in the 1830s, and it has holes in it. So you know, it's great.
Oh, hey, I'm probably going to end up there.
Yeah,
soon.
I'm sure you'll play a show there one day at the Islip Coliseum.
Right, the Islip Coliseum.
Well, you might end up playing a show for the county jail there so that you can perform for our favorite guy, Mr. George Santos.
Oh.
If that is his real name, which it's not. So we all know that this guy also can't stop lying about dumb shit. I mean, just the dumbest stuff to lie about.
Look how far it's gotten him, though.
Yeah, all the way to 13 counts of federal indictments. He's facing 13 charges of various felonies. They're all related to finances and lying about stuff on his forms. The list is long, right?
Yeah, no, I got it. He lied about founding an animal charity.
Yes. Which also involved him defrauding the Amish of all people.
Wow.
Because, you know,
how can you do that?
He showed them a phone and was like, "Woo." No, what he did was he bounced a check on him. He wrote a check for $15,000 for some puppies, and then in Pennsylvania, and then left. And they took the check for whatever reason, and then he took the puppies, and then the check bounced because he didn't have any money.
How about this one? He lied about his mother's death being related to 9/11.
He claimed his mom died in 9/11 several times, despite the fact that she didn't, and was very obviously alive in 2006 when she finally died, something like that.
And he said his mother was in the Holocaust.
He said that his grandparents were Holocaust survivors,
grandmother, right,
and that they were Jewish. But then he's not. And so then he tried to cover that up by saying he was Jewish.
Jewish. I get it.
Meaning I grew up in New York, so I'm Jewish.
I'm Jew adjacent.
Yeah.
Jew everybody's Jew adjacent.
Yeah, we're kind of everywhere. But I
get it.
If you know how to order in a deli, you can maybe claim something.
He's really good with claiming a connection to whatever the cause of the day is.
Correct.
He claimed to have employees who were who died in the Pulse shooting.
Right. Very not true.
Wow.
He did not have employees at all. As a matter of fact, he lied about working at Goldman Sachs. He lied about all the money that he had, but he did all of a sudden get some pile of money. And that's part of what this indictment is about. one of his PACs was raising money left and right from all of the voters and people who were supporting him for his campaign. And then they did not spend it on the campaign. What did they spend it on? Car payments, his credit card, fancy suits.
Makeup because he was a drag queen.
Yeah, well, he was a drag queen, and then he claimed he wasn't a drag queen.
The pictures look really nice. I mean, I'm just saying. I mean,
he claims he's gay. I'm not even sure that's true. I mean,
it would be cool to be gay, to be a gay senator, right? You know what I mean? It would get you.
Yeah, if you're running in like that part of New York, being gay is probably helpful, even on a Republican ticket.
Or just insinuate a little bit. You don't have to really come out.
But he says he's out. But who knows? I mean, look, I'm not saying there's a way to test that exactly, but
I'm not going to find it.
Yeah, I'm not going to ask him. But what I'm saying is like the dude, so 13 counts. He stands accused of deceiving donors in his campaign, misusing their money for his personal gain, as well as defrauding the entire state of New York. He's alleged to have made false statements to the House Committee and Ethics because he lied on his financial disclosure form, said that he had all this money that he didn't have. Then he said he didn't have all this money that he did have. And he didn't say where the money came from, Russia. Yeah. He faces 7 counts of wire fraud. Wire fraud is this great catch-all. It means you defrauded people, but you used a wire to do it. And it is so broadly written that it means like you sent an email, wire fraud.
Well, yeah. We'll talk about broad interpretations later.
You telegraph something, wire fraud.
Cash App,
wire fraud.
Wire fraud.
Yeah, if it involves a wire, it is wire fraud. If it involves the mail, it is mail fraud.
Gotcha.
So those are the different kinds of frauds that I'm not a fraudster. 3 counts of money laundering. Now, knowing George Santos, he probably does.
Oh, hey, look. I mean, who hasn't laundered a little bit of money? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's stuck in your suit that you paid for with campaign finances, and then it just goes through the wash. It's
back.
right. Oh, look.
Hey.
Yeah, how did that happen?
Right. It's clean.
And it was through the usual suspect places, dry cleaner, car wash, and a barbershop.
Beautiful.
It's all cash based.
Nice,
come on.
nice.
Fucking moron. 2 counts of lying to the House. If convicted, he faces a maximum sentence of 20 years. Which is for just the wire fraud. If he's found guilty on multiple counts and sentences, judge could make them concurrent or he could make them serve all of them out. According to prosecutors, Santos falsely claimed to have been unemployed. This is the good one. Claimed to have been unemployed in the summer of 2020. And so then he applied for COVID benefits through the state of New York. This is where he defrauded New York. So he applied for benefits from the New York State Department of Labor. He continued to falsely certify his unemployment throughout the following spring and received $24,000 in benefits funded by taxpayers as part of an expanded social program. Then he turned around and put on his financial disclosure form, said he was employed by Goldman Sachs that whole time, which was also not true.
Hey, look, I'm impressed. I'm actually impressed. My hats off to you, Mr.
I'm a creative guy. You're more creative than I am.
Yeah.
You can think up all kinds of stuff.
It's debatable.
Could you possibly think up this many ways to crime? You've written how many albums and books and all kinds of stuff. Can you crime this rapidly?
Crime that now that I want to say yes.
Yeah, right.
If I really buckled down.
Right.
You know what I mean? And forgot about my family, my children, you know what I mean? And just really just applied myself. Yes.
So the next issue of Universe is going to be like the crime issue.
Right, the crime issue.
Yeah,
you know
here's all the crimes we could think of.
All of a sudden, the hero just like, you know what? This is for the birds.
Let's crime.
Yeah, let's crime.
Yeah.
I like it.
All right, so George Santos is, what we do know, actually not Belgian or any of that stuff. He is Brazilian. We do know that.
Okay.
It says his family came from Brazil. So speaking of...
Can't lie about that.
Correct. We saw it happen. There's, immigration forms. Right. Speaking of Brazilians breaking the law.
Ooh, I like that.
You like that segue?
Yeah, I like that one.
Dateline, Brasilia. Oh, no, wait, it's Brasilia, so it's like a samba beat. on the teletype. There you go. Brazilian police on Wednesday raided the home of former President Jair Bolsonaro, arresting his trusted aide, seized his phone as part of a probe into his COVID-19 vaccination records. The investigation may answer questions, stick with me now, about how Bolsonaro, a strident COVID skeptic who vowed to never get a vaccine, was registered as vaccinated and health records made public in February.
So this guy is like the Latino Trump.
Yes, he's sort of famously, that's what people were calling him, was like South American Trump or whatever.
Okay.
But it turns out he was running a vaccine card mill out of his house. He was printing up millions of these fake vaccine cards.
Nice.
Yeah.
That sounds like a pretty nice hustle. Like if you came up with it early enough.
Well, he didn't do it that early. He did it after everybody else mostly had their cards, which is why he couldn't sell any of them. And then he came to the United States after he tried to coup his country after he lost his election to Lula. And all of a sudden he had his card to get into Miami. How did that happen?
Criminals.
Yeah. Fucking moron. Like, again, you guys, all y'all like right-wing autocratic idiots, it doesn't work. It eventually, there's no like autocrat that has succeeded in living out their life as such without, like, Franco might be the only one who just died finally.
Okay.
But all the rest of them end up like dead by the hand of somebody close to them, or they get like thrown in prison, or their country gets lit on fire. But like, there's no successful autocrats.
Never.
Putin is like maybe the longest.
Hanging on by a string, actually.
Yeah,
he really is.
Didn't he fake that drone attack on the Kremlin like a couple weeks ago?
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's like, oh, this explosion happened, and we think it was the Ukrainians. And they're like, we don't have drones that go that far. Nobody has drones that go. Did anybody get hurt? And they're like, the Russians are like, what? No, it was like, so you expect us to believe that and everybody was fine, and all the cameras were rolling when it happened. Cool.
Oh man.
Even the Soviets were smarter than that. They were like, yeah, is dog in satellite, you know?
So the raid on his home, right? He confirmed the raid on his home, and he reiterated that he had never taken a COVID vaccine.
That's right. He didn't take it, but also his records are up to date, say that he's got it.
Yo, yeah. I mean, at this point, I'm not gonna say nobody cares anymore because COVID is still a thing.
It's still out there. One of my friends recently just had a bad run with it last week. So yeah, it's not gone. It's just the thing that we now have to live with because of idiots like this who couldn't do the right thing in the first place.
Yeah. Scamming the system. Yeah. He was kind of late.
Also, get your updated boosters and stuff. I'm a little late on that. I gotta get my bivalent.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. But yeah. So
I just have been careful not to lick anything. That's how you get COVID. No, that's not how you get COVID. It's airborne.
I mean, you can get COVID by licking stuff.
Yeah, I'm just teasing. Like, please do the things to be safe. Okay. This last story in the Rundown Crime Edition is the most what the fuck story I think I have ever read. The initial headline, this is from the Daily Beast, so it's a little long-winded, but there are characters in this story that you need to know, and I'm gonna read this headline, and it's gonna make your head hurt.
Okay, I'm ready for it. I'm ready.
Okay,
let's go.
Alt-right agitator Milo Yiannopoulos used the credit card of Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene's campaign last November to purchase an internet domain for Kanye, who has still not announced his 24 bid. He was reimbursed for the domain transfer by Kanye West's campaign the same day for $3,000 above the cost, according to the receipts obtained by the Daily Beast and a person with knowledge of the events.
Beautiful. Oh, I love that.
Isn't that an insane sentence?
But it makes perfect sense. It really does. I mean, because
go on.
Yo, Kanye has never been gone. All right.
Right.
So he's there. He's still in the picture. And that would be a lot of fun, you know, for him to for him to throw his hat into the ring. He's ready.
Yeah.
He's ready. And I'm ready.
Yeah, you're ready.
Aren't you ready? Come on.
I mean, I'm not. Look, it's a comedy radio show. Yeah, we want Kanye in the race. This is. I don't want to have to write stuff. This is much funnier. Yeah, reality has been great for us.
Oh my God, yes.
The story is insane. The receipts match FEC filings from both campaigns, so they did record their stuff, unlike George Santos. Mm-hmm. Those filings show that on 22 November, the Green campaign reported a $7,000 expense to GoDaddy's hosting service for domain registration and hosting the same day. The Kanye 2020 committee, which is still what he's operating under, because remember, he pretended to run in 2020.
Right.
Reported paying Milo Yiannopoulos $9,955 for domain transfer. Mm-hmm. So, as best as we can understand this, right, here's some other things you need to know. At one point, MTG hired Milo as a intern or something. So he has some connection to her office.
Had to keep him on the payroll, right?
Yeah, but she fired him 6 months into it. Okay, so that's one thing to know. When Kanye showed up at Mar-a-Lago, this is getting even more insane. When Kanye showed up at Mar-a-Lago with white supremacist Nick Fuentes, Milo was there and claims to have set it all up and filmed some of it.
Okay.
For a documentary that he was making.
Makes sense to me.
But Kanye fired him or said he was never employed and didn't actually set it up because he's a lying scumbag or something.
Also makes sense.
Sure. Yiannopoulos, who has taken credit for arranging the Mar-a-Lago evening, told the Daily Beast. So not only is he doing this, but when the reporters, and the Daily Beast is a notoriously left-wing operation, call him up, he talks to him. He's like, yeah, I'll fucking talk to you, whatever. He told the Daily Beast that he set it all up, but that he didn't personally attend. Kanye fired Milo after the provocateur told NBC News that he orchestrated the dinner with Fuentes, quote, to make Trump's life miserable. Now we've added another character. But the disgraced hip-hop mogul rehired him as a political director last week. So this has all happened.
Brand new.
And then last week, so we're at 11 May. Today is 11, right? Sometime in the last 10 days or so, Kanye made a call to Milo Yiannopoulos and said, come on back, buddy. We need you.
Right. Because the key word is provocateur.
Yeah, right.
You said it.
That's true. They do share that in common.
Right, exactly. And they are twins in that.
Kim
regard.
dodged. So, shout out to her. Clever lady. Got what she needed, got the thing, and then out.
Right.
Smart.
Right.
That's business.
It was all business. I mean, I'm just saying.
Yeah,
I'm sure there was some love in there, I'm sure, at some point.
We seen the Ray J tape. We know it was all business.
Yo, you're making me spill stuff.
Yo, sorry. Okay, this gets worse, though. The transactions are coming to light after Kanye's latest treasurer resigned on Monday. Today's Thursday. Okay, he resigned on Monday. He's the second treasurer to jump ship in the last 6 months. Because one of the things you need to know is if you're the treasurer of a campaign, you are personally responsible for things being accurate. And if they're not, you can go to jail.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So if you're working for Kanye and Milo, maybe not the best move. Got out of there. Let's see. The receipts were turned over to some people. Right. They were first published on Twitter by far-right activist Laura Loomer, adding another character to this story, though the Daily Beast obtained them from a different source. We don't know who that was.
Right.
The treasurer declined to comment for this article, but the Green campaign also did not reply to a request. However, Brendan Fisher, a campaign finance law specialist and deputy executive director at Watchdog Document, told the Daily Beast that if the Green campaign paid for Kanye's web domain, quote, that's an excessive and unreported in-kind contribution to his campaign. He also noted that if Yiannopoulos charged the Greens campaign card without the campaign's knowledge, then he may have committed a range of serious violations, including wire fraud. There's the wire fraud.
Okay, so I would say probably the wire fraud happened there.
Probably.
I don't think Marjorie knew about, hey, would you like to find out?
Or she did. I mean, this all fits with her whole thing where like the rules don't exist and she does whatever the fuck she wants all the time.
I would have to go back and see if Marjorie ever supported Kanye or like co-signed anything he's ever said.
It doesn't matter. If the opportunity for chaos and attention exists, MTG is there.
Because they're both wild cards.
Yeah, she just wants the attention.
All right, I can see that.
It literally doesn't matter what the message is.
Right, okay.
That's malleable. She can make up anything.
Okay, I can see that. I can see what you're saying.
First, there's a question of Milo using the Greens campaign card without authorization, which would be theft. Then there's the personal use question. Campaign funds cannot be used for personal benefit. So Milo told everybody, yeah, he did this. Okay. And he said he was working for Green's campaign at the time, but he did it so that he could get hired back with Kanye, meaning that he used Marjorie's campaign funds for his own personal benefit, which is, these guys can't stop. And it's, again, stupid criminals. It's, and you know, you find out about like people who, I don't know, like rob a convenience store and leave their license behind or whatever, and you're like, oh, that's a stupid criminal.
Right.
This is dumber than that. Because it all has to be reported. You're all on paper doing it.
Right.
You're like tracking.
You're
like
giving receipts immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You come home and you're like, honey, guess which criming I did today? I got to fill out my crime reports where I did criming.
Crime invoice.
My invoice, yes.
Right.
I'm going to charge $7,000 to MTG and get $9,000 from Kanye.
Give you that.
Carry the 3 and so, going to fucking prison. Why are you doing this?
I don't know, man.
I do have an idea that Milo is trying to go to jail.
You said trying to go to jail.
Yeah, because
that's a pretty hard accusation.
Well,
trying to go.
He's famously gay and mad about that he's gay. Like he doesn't want to be gay, but he is. And so that's why he's like a conservative Republican who's gay.
So look. Martin Luther King was trying to go to jail.
Yeah, because he was trying to prove a point.
So
Milo's trying to go to jail because he wants to get the point. I think.
Oh my God.
I think Milo's plan is to go to jail so he can experience a gay lifestyle and claim that he didn't choose it.
No,
that's what I think.
I'm not going to.
No?
I'm just going to.
It could be. It's not impossible. Okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a break while Patrick digests that idea. Could be a little rough.
Oh my God.
And when we come back with the third half of the show, we are going to talk about my favorite neighbor, Clarence.
Oh,
yeah.
Clarence.
He's having a great week. So you thought you get out of this? No, you're not, neighbor Clarence. You're on the list, buddy. All right, we're going to take a break. You're listening to Chip Chat on Beltway Radio and beyond. Yeah. Street balls.
Hello, everyone.
I knew you were the one and only, and I knew you would always know me, 'cause you were the one kept me from feeling so sad and lonely in my life. And I never knew life could be so wonderful, that there could be someone who was so beautiful. And I never knew that I could be so free, love someone like you. And I'm gonna I'll be with you. you're the one. I thought my life was drawn shades of gray, and that was how I would live my everyday, and aimless, no direction found. My destiny was going through the motion. Sweet, sweet smile, and then you put your cheek right next to mine, and all those shades of gray turned into a new technicolor world, and I never thought I'd fall, and I'm gonna love you.
We'll have to talk about that one later.
Yeah, that's going to be an off-air conversation. All right, welcome back to Chip Chat here on Beltway Radio and beyond. I'm your host, Chip. With me tonight is Patrick.
What's up, everybody?
I got the bell this time.
Yeah.
Look at that. Tez isn't here, so he doesn't get the bell, so I get to do it. Ah, ha, ha. All right, now we're going to do a segment that is unfortunately a bit of a recurring segment on this show. This is about my neighbor, Clarence.
What did neighbor Clarence do this time?
Well, it's not so much what he did, it's what he didn't do, which is report all of the stuff that his friend, whose last name is Crow, which again, Harlan Crow, whose father's name is Jim. This is not one of those things where I'm making up stuff because it's funny.
Are you serious?
I'm just telling you, it couldn't be more on the nose.
That's beautiful. All right, let's hear it.
All right, so what we have been learning, ProPublica has been doing this investigation, and they continue to turn up more information. And what we learned a few weeks ago, we found out that the Crows were flying the Thomases out, on all these expensive trips and doing all this stuff, and he didn't report any of it. And then we found out in the next report that they were giving money to his wife and her consulting company, Ginny Thomas, and to do what seems to be somewhat unspecified.
Okay, now that's the scary part.
Well, no, it got worse. So then also apparently Ginny and Clarence were the legal guardians of one of their nephews, whose name is Mark Martin, and he was, a bit of a troubled kid, and so needed to go to some of these boarding schools, including one called Hidden Lake Academy that was shut down in northern Georgia because it was a death camp.
Oh, shit.
I know several kids who escaped from there.
Oh, shit.
Interesting story. That's another day.
Wow.
I'll tell you about that some other time.
We definitely need that, but okay, all right.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to tell anything about that on air in case, privacy concerns. But so what we found out is that Harlan paid all of the tuition for all of this time that Martin was in these schools, and it's not cheap, $6,000 a month or something like that. So also he bought Clarence's mom's house, and she still lives there for free.
Harlan did all this?
Harlan bought Clarence's mom's house and added on to it and built all this other stuff. He's legally required to have reported all of this stuff, but he didn't because he doesn't think the laws apply to him, or because, and I'm going to say this again, he can't read. There is this lingering question about whether Clarence Thomas is illiterate.
Really?
It's a weird theory. It only exists in left-wing chatterbox groups or whatever. But if he could just say, look, I can't read, that would excuse a lot of this, because he's like, I didn't know there was a law because I can't read. He's like,
but is that okay? All right.
So for the first half of the career, Scalia was there to tell him what to say and think. He never asks any questions because he doesn't read any of the briefs because he can't. And then his clerks write all the stuff, and Scalia tells him to sign it.
So, oh wow,
that's the theory.
I want to ask so many questions. Wow, I did not know about
It's
this.
it's a ridiculous theory.
Well,
I'm the only person who
I'm gonna
believes
be honest
this.
and say I'm not sure how ridiculous it is.
It's
Because because older black people, they had to get by any way they could. And sometimes
I know several people who are illiterate but still get through society just fine.
Sometimes they did, but it would be a huge accomplishment.
Yeah, to have gone to Harvard and done all this stuff while being illiterate.
Right. To rise to the Supreme Court and be. But I'm sorry.
He's also Gullah Geechee, so that was like one of the things for a long time that people said, like, okay, the reason he's uncomfortable speaking is because of that.
Understandable, right? Because I know people who are Gullah Geechee, and that could, the cultural, the way they understand language and interpret it is different, right?
Yeah, it's its own language.
It's
and
real. Okay.
Yeah,
wow,
of course.
Look this up.
This is a wild ass theory. I'm not saying you should believe that.
No, but I'm going to explore it now because I had not.
Go down the rabbit hole, see what you find. It's gonna be nuts. Bring a snack.
I'm here for
and
it.
then climb back out.
Wow.
Okay, but what did happen this week is the Senate Judiciary Committee sent a letter on Monday to Harlan Crow and basically said, look, we're gonna pass laws to force the justices to disclose more than they're doing right now, because the law basically doesn't force them to do anything. There was some sort of weird supposition that if you're a Supreme Court justice, you're sort of an ethical person and you'll at least follow the rules.
Supposedly.
Well, and say what you want about various awful Supreme Court justices like Scalia. I don't think he's a liar, or I don't think he was a liar. I don't think that Beer Can Brett is lying except about raping people.
Beer Can Brett.
Yeah, but I don't think that these awful people like Scalito, that's Alito, but he's little Scalia.
Little.
Yeah, Scalito. I don't think that he's a liar. I think he's a bad man with bad intentions, but he wants to achieve his goals by the letter of the law, which he might invent sometimes, but he's not breaking those kind of laws. He's not lying on his financial disclosure forms.
Gotcha.
And of course, I don't think that Kagan or Sotomayor or Ketanji are lying about these, because they wouldn't have any reason to do that, because they're not doing anything shady. And I don't think any of the 8 are doing anything shady except for one. There's one, and that's neighbor Clarence, because he has demonstrated throughout his entire career that he feels like he's owed something. He's walking around with this chip on his shoulder, and he walks a little funny, I know, because I see him at Giant. And it's the chip. It weighs him down, It's
not really.
I have seen him at Giant, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. The big credit, the thing that Tez is always on me about, I did not trip him.
I was going to say, I don't know.
I had an opportunity.
Whoa, what was you do?
I could have saved the Republic. Could have saved Roe. Just knocked him over.
You had just stuck your leg out.
The second Biden was inaugurated, I could have just
Just a little bit.
Yeah. Or just left the banana.
Could have saved so many lives.
You slipped on it, It would have gone out like a Three Stooges movie. It would have been poetic.
Yep.
Right? How did Justice Thomas go down? Well, Larry and Curly were on one end, and Mo was behind it. It could have been that. But no, so I didn't do that. I didn't.
Okay.
Because he's still just an old man.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And
yeah, we have to
don't beat up old people.
Bit of respect.
Yeah, tiny bit. He's still a human, I guess. Maybe, I don't know. His wife might not be, but I can say what I want on the show. Nobody listens to it. But so the Senate Judiciary Committee was like, yo, we're going to regulate this shit, and we need to know. And so they sent a letter to Harlan and were like, you need to tell us everything you gave him since he's not talking.
Right.
Because if you don't, we're going to make everything you do illegal tomorrow. And Angus King of Maine was like, look, Supreme Court, do the thing on your own so we don't have to, because we're going to do it. Dick Durbin is out there with the other 10 Democrats on the committee. They signed the letter asking Crow to provide an itemized list of gifts worth more than $415, which is what the legal limit is. Made to Thomas or any other justice or justice's family member, as well as a full list of lodging, transportation, real estate transactions, and admissions to any private clubs that Crow may have provided. The Judiciary Committee is now the second Senate committee to target Crow after the ProPublica investigation. Guess how many Republicans signed this letter?
0.
That is correct.
Okay.
All 11 of the committee's Democrats, including Senator Dianne Feinstein, who came back from California this week, signed it, and none of the Republicans joined. Not a one, because they don't care. Again, immunity to shame. Ted Cruz loves to talk about law and order and all this kind of stuff. They love law and order. Love it. Like Sam Waterston love it. And they are like, not when it's our guys.
Oh, no. Law and order only applies when it's to...
But he's that.
Who?
Clarence is black.
Is he?
I know he doesn't know.
Are you
Right.
sure?
No, see, that's the right answer. He hates that he's black. And this is the thing that, like, I don't know how he can't remember this, but in the end, when the chips are all out, they're just gonna look at him like another black guy.
You know
It
what?
doesn't matter how much he cozies up to the white supremacists. In the end,
in the end, but you know, if he plays his cards right, he'll never have to experience that, and he'll never have to experience what is called. And I'm gonna make a little slight segue into what is called the nigger wake up call.
yeah. When you realize that the white people around you,
I don't know if that's
Yeah, you can
I don't
edit.
know if that's bell worthy.
No,
or
you
not,
I'll edit. That's absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. That's when
This is the same thing like with Stephen Miller thinking that he can cozy up to the white supremacists and they're going to forget that he's Jewish, and they're not.
Right. Yeah, it'll happen. So you know, you hope it doesn't happen. Nobody hopes that happens to anyone.
No, certainly not.
Because it can end up being deadly.
Probably will.
You know what I mean? But you know, sometimes it'll just end up just in being a jail sentence.
That proximity to whiteness thing, though, is it's. I mean, okay, I obviously present as white and like am in a white society, and I mean, okay, who can't tell I'm Jewish? But like, for real, like I'm around and sometimes they bro me in on their racism. Hey man, well you know how they are. I'm like,
right.
Now who's they? Go on.
Right. I wasn't going to say it, but yeah.
Okay, but what do you, as people are listening, they might not be able to tell. You are a black individual.
I am African American.
You are the black Picasso of all things,
Absolutely,
right? So
absolutely.
why are you the black Picasso? He's not
because
the white.
Because the white one, man,
Patrick.
He was really prominent, and I was pretty early in on on creating visuals,
right?
With my words, and it naturally happened. So
I think he should have to be white Patrick.
The white Patrick.
Yeah, that's the only fair way. Like, why does it go one direction?
I love that.
It doesn't make sense.
I've never thought of it before,
but Spanish Patrick, Patricio.
Right. Because Picasso was actually, wasn't he? Was he some like?
I don't know what he is.
Was he Italian?
No, he's Spanish. Yeah, he's from Spain. I know that.
Right.
And he paints in cubes.
Okay. We'll look that up.
Whatever. Doesn't matter. Okay. But anyway, so you are a black person in the United States.
Right.
It's a rough gig. What do you think about this sort of proximity to whiteness gambit that Clarence and other people like him are making? Like Tim Scott is sort of in the same category, I would say. Byron Donalds is in this category where like they're cozying up to people who are directly harmful to black folks in this country, and they're somehow thinking that this is gonna work out for them.
Yeah, I mean, look, it is. I think everybody needs that, or some of us need that. I'm going to call it the Negro wake up call. What's his name? Lieutenant Governor, North Carolina Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson.
Oh yeah, he had a good. Oh my God!
Right,
Brian, don't play that. If you can find the audio, don't play it. But that was. This is the.
He said, if you can find it, don't play it.
Don't play it, but go watch it. Maybe I don't know if Brian's white. He doesn't feel these things, but like, it's What did he say?
He said that black people owe reparations.
Reverse reparations.
Right. For what our predecessors, our ancestors went through, and we owe reparations to America for what they
bringing you here and giving you this
all this wonderful opportunity
Right.
that we had before us.
He had this whole speech.
It was beautiful, actually.
Kanye's.
It's
It was a
Kanye,
choice.
Ben Carson. It's Ben Carson's another one.
Yeah, I mean, it was actually. I mean, if you listen to it, and then the verbiage is beautiful, the way that they presented
The way he delivered it.
Yeah, I mean, the way he presented it. You know what I mean? But when you analyze it and think about what he's really saying, it's some bullshit.
Well, it's one of those things where like he's going down this path, and you're like, all right, where's he going with this? And then this hard left, and you're like, whoa, buddy.
Right. Because he's not saying we owe our ancestors or we owe our, he's saying we owe America
Reparations.
Reparations. And
Yeah.
that is not the case.
Somebody sent me that video, and I'm mad at them for doing it because that hurt me to listen to.
It was, yeah. Now it definitely. So I guess I say all that to say that there are certain people who need that nigga wake up call, and that's all I can say. I mean,
How does it come to Clarence Thomas? What is the mechanism by which this wake up call comes? Is it his wife leaving him for a white guy?
Ooh, that's beautiful.
That could happen.
That could very easily happen.
I know the neighborhood. There's plenty of white guys around. Matter of fact, nearly all of them.
You know what I mean? Yeah, I mean, depending on how he's handling things.
Her name is Virginia. He married somebody named Ginny. Ginny. Yeah, no, everybody's got like an Aunt Ginny that's like a different, no, her name is Virginia. She goes by Ginny Thomas, and she looks like
a Ginny.
Her middle name is Jefferson Davis. And if he could have married Virginia Jefferson Davis Thomas, he would have.
Oh my God. Yeah. So it's a beautiful thing. Really, it is. It's beautiful. I love their love.
What a great country.
Yeah. I mean,
where a Gullah Geechee guy from Georgia can grow up to hate black people.
Everybody needs somebody.
That's true.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Even if you're a lost black person who has no sense of self, and you can find somebody who agrees with that.
Yeah, he did. Hundreds of them.
Oh boy, did he?
Didn't Freddie Mercury say something like that?
Yes. Somebody to love.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can't somebody find me somebody to love?
Absolutely. Woo.
I don't want to take this too far because it starts to get a little gross.
We've taken this as far as we can.
But suffice it to say that the walls are closing in on neighbor Clarence, and I don't know what's going to happen if maybe Roberts is going to go lean on him and say, like, look, buddy, you're damaging the court. But I don't think Roberts actually cares. And I think that if he says that, Clarence would say, look, I've been here longer than you. Shut the fuck up.
He has that right. I mean, that's how
it's a lifetime appointment. So what is the solution?
Goes, right?
Term limits.
That's how tenure goes.
Term limits. 18 years. That's it. Everybody rotates out. There's always 3. Every president gets a pick. That's like an easy math.
Have you ever thought about how many more years some of these people have? Like
every day. And RBG should have quit when she could have, and Obama could have replaced and said we end up with Coney Barrett.
If RBG had quit,
yeah, we would not have Amy Coney Barrett.
Really?
That's correct, because Trump put her because she died after not quitting when Obama was there. I mean, that's the thing.
Right.
She should have quit. Okay, this was the same thing, and we were all on Breyer, like retire Breyer. He did listen because he listens to the show, of course, and we got Ketanji Brown Jackson. But like, this is the thing. This is not supposed to be this. When they were writing these lifetime appointments into the Constitution, people only lived to be 40.
That's a really, really important point. You know what I mean? Because now the lifespan is essentially doubled.
Yeah, basically.
I mean? Right. So we're stuck with people who are thinking, who are stuck in a mindset for 40 years prior to what, I mean, and the I guess the sensibility. I don't know.
The average age in the Senate is like 72 or something like that. Like, we're being governed by this gerontocracy of people who
gerontocracy
are just not connected to the rest of us.
Make that up, or was that a real word?
No, that's a real word.
Yo, gerontocracy. I'm going to.
I didn't make that up.
I'm going to put it in a poem.
Yeah,
Don't worry.
I'm sure you are.
And I'll give you credit.
Okay, I get a writing credit. Of course, that's what the show is about, giving me credit for other people's stuff. Speaking of which,
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Let's go ahead.
I'm going to put you to the test here.
All right. Oh God.
So before we do this thing, I want to sort of give some of your credentials, right? Okay, so you
I have no credentials.
Well, you are a poet.
I'm a poet.
You work for an organization that promotes poetry and helps people develop and all of that kind of stuff.
Right. Develop their creative selves. Yeah.
You were in a group called the MCs.
Yeah, I am.
You wrote. You still are in the group, I guess.
Yep.
Shout out DP if you're listening. You are, let's say, a wordsmith.
I am.
This is a fair way to categorize. And the credits go on and on. He writes comic books. You have facility with language
I hope
so the rest of us are jealous of.
Oh God, here we go. All right.
You got to have vocab.
Yeah, he's setting me up for some shit. I don't know what it is, but here we go.
Dateline, Salem, Oregon. Republicans blocked votes on bills about abortion, gun control, and gender-affirming healthcare in Oregon this week have based their boycott on an obscure 44-year-old law that requires bill summaries to be written at the reading level of 8th or 9th grade. So their contention is, this is too hard to read, so we can't vote on it. Now, you're the wordsmith, so I'm wondering if you could somehow reconfigure the squiggles on the page into sounds what they can understand.
But okay, look, okay, I know what you're talking about. I know what you're referring to, right? They are trying to these lawmakers, I'm using that loosely, air quotes, because they're not fucking like making any laws. They're avoiding making laws, right?
That's right. They also didn't raise this issue with any of the other things that passed this session.
Dozens of other laws that were presented, but all of a sudden, when it came down to these two issues that were hot button topics, right? Regarding was it transgender
gender affirming care, gun control, and abortion.
Right. All of a sudden, they found somebody. I'm assuming an intern or somebody like went through and searched and found this obscure ass.
Well, apparently back in the 70s, there were a number of these things that were passed. So here's how this works. The 1979 law that Republicans are justifying their stay away with specifically requires bill summaries to have an 8th or 9th grade reading level measured by a score of at least 60 on something called the Flesh Readability Test.
Right. So
you know this thing?
I do not know it, but I read up on it. So,
okay.
So like the law as presented is saying that the law, as when it's written, has to be presented in a way that on a 9th or was it 10th grade?
8th or 9th grade.
8th or 9th grade level, so that the words aren't too confusing or too big.
And on the surface, this kind of makes sense, right? You shouldn't write laws that are so technically complicated that people don't really understand what they're voting for and that the public can't understand it. However,
bro, I am a fan.
Bruh.
Thank you. Yo, I am a fan of innovation.
Right.
Yo, look, and I gotta say, like, Republicans never cease to impress me with their dedication to obstruction.
Yes.
Because that is exactly what this is. There is nothing less than obstruction.
I mean, basically the conservative movement, to conserve means to not move forward.
Dude,
right.
Dap me up, please.
That is exactly what we're talking about.
I've always wanted to say that to people, but people always gloss over that.
No.
Conserve means to
not go forward.
Right. Yo,
that's why we're progressives. We're going forward.
We're moving forward, but
and they're conserving. They want to
hang on to it.
Yeah.
Yo, cuddle it in.
Right.
You know, keep it as close as you can.
But not if it's the same gender as you. It's not a thing. They don't want to do that.
So the idea of obstruction, right? So like I get that the framers of this law, like way back in the 70s, I think.
Yeah.
Right, back in the 70s, they didn't have much, in my imagination is that they didn't have much faith in the comprehension skills of their successors.
Well, it's really funny that they're saying like it's important that we follow the law, because if we're passing laws today, we're just expecting in 20, 30, 40 years that people are just going to ignore the laws. And like, so now you're adhering to this. It's also unclear if anybody's ever used this reason.
Never have.
Ever.
Never.
Since it was passed.
So no, this is the only thing that could keep them from actually showing up to work and doing what they were supposed to do.
The flesh test was designed in the 1940s to measure how easy it is to read and understand a text.
Right.
The readability test factors,
right, so
word and sentence length.
Wait, bro. So check this out. So it was developed in the 40s. It wasn't administered until the 70s.
Yeah, they didn't add it to the law until the 70s.
Right. And then they didn't even think about really using it until just now.
Yeah. When it and only on these things.
That's some bullshit.
Yeah, no
yo.
shit.
That's some bullshit.
Here's my favorite quote here.
Right.
Gary Willems, the Oregon House Minority Leader in 1979, was one of 31 bipartisan votes that passed the bill back in the 70s. On Monday, the 85-year-old Republican addressed the resurfacing of the law in a statement released by the GOP senators who are refusing to show up to work. Quote, transparency prevailed then as it should today, Willems said. The law is the law, and I'm glad the Senate Republican caucus is attempting to enforce the statute today. In an interview with the Associated Press, however, Willems said his memory of the political moment of 1979 was shaped the readability law was fuzzy, and he described it as, quote, minor legislation.
Yo, yeah, right. At the time, it was minor legislation, but all of a sudden, it is just the end-all, be-all that can shut down this whole thing. All right, so let me say this real quick, because I know we're going over.
No, it's fine. Brian doesn't care.
Look, okay, so, all right, yeah, I'm a poet, right? But I'm also a fan of straight talk.
Yes.
All right, now, I'm a parent. So I understand that the idea of abortion and protecting, these things, it could be, of concern to a parent, right? On face value, just as the way to describe it, I do not like the way the bill is presented, right? But upon closer scrutiny, you will see
Can't say scrutiny. That's a 10th grade word.
Oh, what?
It's too high.
I skipped over.
Upon closer looking at.
A person looking.
Yeah.
If you look
I
closer,
looked at it harder.
If you looked at it harder,
yeah,
you will see that the idea. Okay, so in the state of Oregon, because that's where this is happening.
This is in
right?
Oregon.
Okay. A very small percentage of kids will get away with having an abortion without parental involvement.
Yeah.
I believe the numbers like in the area, 7,000 kids will have an abortion. Most of them will have parental involvement.
That's one of the laws that they're fighting? I didn't know which law about abortion they were like.
Well, yeah. That's what it was.
Okay.
Yeah. The deal is, I believe you can't have an abortion
without parental consent.
I'm sorry. They're making the law or the presented law is that they're allowing kids
without parental consent.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Kids from 14 and up to have an abortion without parental consent. Now the deal is, I'm saying, but historically,
that's basically not happened.
Historically, it's never happened.
It's right. Yeah.
Right. So what they're saying is, right. So like out of those 7,000, maybe 5.
Yeah. Right.
Out of those 7,000, maybe 5 of those kids with this new law being implemented would get away with having an abortion
without their parents knowing about it.
Their parents knowing.
Yeah, of course. So, and several of them would have been paid for by these Republicans that are trying to not do
anyway.
It. Yeah.
Anyway. Wow.
Yeah.
See, you just really.
I stand by that statement. 100% of elected Republicans have either had an abortion or paid for an abortion in their lives. 100% of them.
No doubt. So, anyways, yes, I say all that to say that, yeah, you know what I mean? The majority of these underage abortions do involve parents.
Of course.
Yeah, all obviously.
Right.
You know what I mean? So just the fact that it's worded in such a way, I understand that it makes people concerned.
What word is above a 9th grade level in this that is driving them crazy? Could you imagine if we applied this same rule to like language? What would music sound like if it had to be written at
Oh my God.
at a 9th grade level? Like it would be awful.
Hello, we're hearing it now.
No, okay. Maybe you're hearing it. The rest of us are listening to good music. But like, could you imagine like Lauryn Hill submitting the lyrics and being like, all right, I'm ready to do this track. Let me go lay it down. And they run it through the flesh test and they go, sorry, you're going to have to dumb this down several grade levels. We can't understand all these words. There's too many syllables.
And that's why she's always late at her concerts.
Oh, that's why.
Oh, she's rewriting.
Yeah,
shit,
she's right. She's dumbing
Trying
it
to
down.
figure out how
That's
to
pretty
dumb it
funny.
down. You know what? See,
I'm not even sure Taylor Swift can get down to that level.
Nobody can.
Right.
No real. Yo, not even. What's the dude who's kind of secretly racist?
What's
What's the country singer who's secretly racist?
It's a lot of them.
I said, I know. That's why I said it like
It's
that.
not. It's not so.
The Morgan.
Oh yeah.
Morgan Wallen. Is that his name?
Yeah.
I'm
It's
sorry.
not secretly.
Morgan Wallen, I'm sorry.
He
but
got
I know
caught saying
you
the
got
N-word
caught
a lot.
saying the N-word a whole bunch of times. So
Yeah.
that's on you, bro.
Yeah.
I liked your music.
But I think that's above the
whatever.
grade level too. I think the N-word is above 9th grade.
Yeah, probably.
I don't think I read any books with that word in it apart from Huck Finn until after
I
9th
don't know if
grade.
too many country singers are above 9th grade level. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's true. It's a lot of monosyllabic stuff.
Woo! I mean, yo, the stuff is great.
I love it.
Dude, don't get me wrong.
I'm a country music fan.
I am too.
But
lyrically,
Yeah.
their shit is unmatched.
Yeah,
I wish R&B singers were as deep as.
it's also like it's about conveying huge ideas with very little language.
Right.
You know, riding in my truck. That is a whole scene.
It can say so much.
Vignette
Depending
right there.
on depending on who's with you in that vehicle.
Yeah.
It could be your dog. It could be your girl.
It could be all.
your
It could be
mama.
both.
It could be right.
All
You know
of
what I mean?
them.
Yo, you know what I mean?
Probably
It
is.
could be R. Kelly's next victim.
What? No, quiet, Brian. Jesus Christ! It's trying to get us thrown off the air.
Bro.
Maybe
And no,
Brian's.
people,
a-
I'm not drinking.
Yeah, right. Maybe Brian's a Republican. All right, here's some other news. Inflation is easing a little bit. It's eased to the lowest level in 2 years. Prices are still a little higher than normal, but prices rose only 4.9% in April compared with the year before. The BLS reported Wednesday morning a 0.4% compared to March. It's been a significant progress on inflation. It seems like Jay Powell might have some idea what he's doing. I'm not saying he does. I'm saying he might. The soft landing is possible. We haven't crashed yet, so we're still making jobs,
Yeah. Jobs are important.
getting inflation down, tightening some of that credit. I've noticed egg prices have dropped a little bit, so that's pretty good.
Right. Oh, yo, dude. Yo, yeah. It's like, is that the barometer?
No, because that was never the right barometer because it was caused by the avian flu, you dummies. I'm talking about, it's inflation,
Did the
Joe
avian-
Biden did the blah, blah,
was
blah.
the avian flu ever really there? I don't know.
Yeah, oh yeah, it killed
Yeah.
like half the flock.
Okay.
Yeah, so the laying flock was all dead, and that's why egg prices went
Okay,
up.
so did we have a barometer for this thing?
A good thing to watch is really this number here, what you're getting from Bureau of Labor Statistics, because they use what they call a basket of goods and services, because it was written back in the 30s
That didn't
or
even
something.
sound right? The basket.
The basket of goods is what they use, and then they use there's two kinds of inflation. There's CPI, and then that's the consumer price index, and then there's the core inflation rate, which is when you take out food and fuel prices. So you're looking at things like, I don't know, paper or desk chairs or whatever. That is a more accurate way to measure inflation because it's a little less volatile. But even if you're looking at the core, or if you're looking at the wider CPI or even the chain CPI, which is even a better thing because it's a little more spread out, we're seeing all of this stuff is basically working.
Okay. All right.
And so all of the things that they said sort of early at the increase in inflation with like, this is transitory, it's going to go away, is true. It's just the time frame was longer than people really were ready to talk about. The war in Ukraine caused a big shock. The end of the pandemic and the increased demand, the choking of the supply chain caused big shocks in prices. Some of those things have smoothed out. And so we are seeing less inflation according to these numbers here.
Gotcha.
And, we saw the prices for home loans are sort of stabilizing. They're still much higher than they were, but that's still better than, they couldn't get, they're not going up, it's there. And it's all happening without a recession. That's kind of like the major thing, right? Usually what happens is you have growth, then you have crash.
Right.
And the Fed was like, I think there's a way to come down slowly. And everybody is like, we have no economic model for this. We don't understand.
Right. Things happen in waves. And
we're watching innovation
there's no
in
way
real
to
time.
Control the wave.
There is, but there's a lot of factors you might not be able to control that can change the shape of the wave very quickly. But what's happening now is a whole new theory is being developed and tested in real time. And so we're waiting to see if this works. So far, the numbers are pretty good. Don't know if they're going to stay going good, but these are pretty good.
All right.
Okay. Remember how you said neighbor Clarence might wake up to the fact that it turns out he's black? It's not as funny, but the gunman in Allen, Texas, who shot everybody because he's a white supremacist, is named Mauricio Garcia. So white supremacy has managed to infiltrate people who are not white, and this is going to come up to them too. Stephen Miller, it's the same thing.
Okay, all right, man, I do have something to say on this, man, because the idea of white supremacy infiltrating people who aren't white is not new.
No,
it has been here since 1619.
Yeah,
I would dare to say, because we always, you listen to conservatives, and the first thing they love to say is that you people sold yourselves.
That's right.
To each other, because that was what you right.
There is nothing better for a white supremacist than to find a black guy who agrees with them.
Right. You'll say, you black people sold other black people to us so that makes you So
I like your white guy accent too. That's pretty good.
Yo, man. That's my drunk accent, actually.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, don't even. So, man, what's happening? Man, what that is the idea of the power isn't in the person who's doing the selling. The power is in the structure.
Of course.
You know what I'm saying? So the idea is that the too often we picture the face of hate or white supremacy, to be somebody in the hood, right? Burning a cross, whatever. But that's not the case. I mean,
no.
There's something that was set in place way before that shit.
Right. White supremacy is a system.
Right. It was way before that.
You might not even need any people to keep it running. Like, it's so deeply ingrained that it's just sort of self.
Right.
It's autonomous.
It could be a George Zimmerman.
It's exactly right.
You know what I mean? As George, who is he identified as Latino.
He is.
Yeah, but he he was white. He aligned himself with white supremacist views more or less, and saw a black person as a threat.
Right.
You know what I mean? Enough to kill them.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Stuff like that.
This guy shot up an entire mall, and he had a right-wing death squad.
The patch
and all this stuff.
Right. He had the patch on his right. You know what I mean? So he identified with these white supremacist views.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so it's not I don't want to say that it's ever just specific to a particular race, because we just talked about North Carolina Lieutenant Governor, the guy who said the black people owe reparations.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's in that same crew. You know what I mean?
There's like two things about this story that are worth pointing out. One is what you're saying is that white supremacy is not just perpetrated by white people.
Right.
But the other thing to pay attention to is that there's these symbols and stuff that are out there. And if you don't know what they are, you might see them and not get it. But the people who those things are meant to signal to are getting it.
They're getting it, right. Even subconsciously.
Yeah. So what I would say to people who are maybe blissfully going through life, not thinking that their neighborhoods are full of dangerous, violent white supremacists, is learn their symbology, learn their language, learn their notation and all of this stuff, so that when you see a car or a truck with a 3% symbol on it,
Oh, wow. Yeah.
which just looks like the Roman numeral 3 surrounded by some stars, you
Right.
might not even notice this.
Oh,
You need to know what that means. You need to learn what these acronyms and these initials and all of this stuff means.
Right,
These
right.
numbers, there's a lot of numbers
right.
involved
you see
in
a
this.
cross all the time. You'll see the variations of the cross that people will, most Americans look at a cross and go, oh, that's a beautiful thing. It means that, oh, you love Jesus. or
Yeah,
whatever,
right.
right?
But know which cross you're looking at.
Right.
Know what that iron cross is. Know why it's that iron. You got to know this stuff. You got to have your head a little more on a swivel. And the problem is, if anybody's listening to this who isn't already this, once you see it, you can't unsee it.
Right.
And your entire life is going to be understanding that the world is not what you thought it was.
Right.
And so it is a little jarring. But if you are a member of a minority community in this country, Black, brown, Jewish, whatever, you need to know this stuff. And if you're connected to people who are that, if you have friends, family, people who you love who are one of those things,
If you are empathetic and you want to know, you would definitely need to understand.
it's worth it.
It's worth it.
Go out and learn this stuff and pay attention. Go look it up. There's all kinds of websites that will show you these catalogs of these things so that you can understand. Southern Poverty Law Center does a great job sort of explaining some of these things, naming the groups, and so that you can understand what their various ideologies. But you got to know because they're out there
Definitely.
and they're dangerous.
Right.
And there's more of them than you think.
Right. We're ending on a really, really somber note.
Yeah. Well, also, fuck white supremacists. I mean, they're assholes. That's not a symbol exactly.
It's not.
All right. Well, look, we're close to on time, which is going to make Brian really happy. It's just almost never happens for him. So that's pretty good. Patrick, thank you for hanging out and
Appreciate you, man.
being a part of the show. Love you too. You are an integral part of this show, whether you wanted to be or not.
Yo, shout out to my Universes crew. Love y'all.
Come back on the show. You got a new book out, right?
Yeah. We have issue number 2 coming out in the next couple of weeks, so keep an eye out on that. Universe.
It's spelled the way
.com.
it sounds.
You are right.
YOUNA verse.
You are right.
Universe.
Universe. Yes, definitely.
Go get the book when it comes out. We want to get you back on when
Definitely,
we
bro.
need copies
Appreciate
of the
you,
book.
man.
All right. And any new music or any of that kind of stuff coming out?
Oh, we're working on it. So just stay close, man.
It's like a reunion tour.
Right. Oh yeah.
Substantial's going to be our guest next week, by the way.
Oh, that's
if
my
you
dude.
wanna,
Yo, shout out to Stan.
We're
Yeah.
doing the stuff. Priest has a new record out, by their new video out.
Yo, man,
off
you
that same
you
record.
got a nice roster of black guys coming through. I appreciate that.
We seem
man.
to be doing this
Yeah,
show
it's really
is
good.
where you come to get famous, apparently. Just saying. The chip chat bump is real. All right, so thanks for hanging out with us and all
Thank
that
you,
stuff.
bro, man.
Thanks to our radio partners, CNN, MSNBC, and Newsmax. Thanks to NOTN for keeping us on for another week, maybe. You don't know. Thanks to our digital media meatball, Isaac Elam. Thanks to our home on the interwebs, coplaymedia.com. And thanks, as always, to our family here at Beltway Radio for making it sound as smooth as Donald Trump's deposition in the E. Jean Carroll case. All right, where can everybody get you on the social medias and stuffs?
Oh man, look, real quick, man. Yo, man, I'm at Black Picasso's Gallery. That's on IG.
Yep.
Yep, Black Picasso's Gallery. Besides that, Poemcees, POEMCEES.
And all over the words, peace, and life.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, man. I work for Words, Beats, and Life.
Go follow them on all the platforms.
Yeah, all the platforms, and definitely, man. I appreciate all the energy. Yeah, man. I support y'all. Just support me back, all right?
Of course we do. All right, you can find me on the Twitter, and I just checked. I tried to get my thing reinstated again. Not reinstated, Elon. So you can get me on Twitter and the show at ChipChatRR. You can find us on Facebook or Instagram at RipChipChat. We are on the TikToks. If you want to find us on the TikToks at RipChipChat, of course. And you can find us every Thursday night here on Beltway Radio and Beyond. I'm Chip. That's Patrick. Brian's over there somewhere. You've been listening to Chip Chat on Beltway Radio and Beyond. Woo! Street balls.